How's it going, guys? Colin here with Schmitty's Off-Road. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video from our normal content. It's going to be kind of a 1,000+ mile review of my Pro XP, and also just kind of a little bit of a maintenance day. So we got a big dune trip coming up, so we're going to be going through all of that stuff, doing just some basic maintenance, talking about the machine, my pros and cons so far. I mean, obviously the machine's been out for, well, it's 3 years now since the 2020s came out, so the Pro XP isn't anything new, but some people still like to see kind of pros and cons of it because not everyone's buying the newest, greatest, latest machines. So we'll be going through talking about a few things that I have liked and disliked, and one of those actually has been causing a slight issue with my clutches. So we are going to go in today, and luckily Evolution Power Sports came out with this little cover, I guess you could say. And it's not really for every Pro XP kind of clutch, I guess. It's mainly designed for the tap clutches. So if you have seen those, it's a primary clutch. It's an insane design. I mean, I would love to get one day, but they're like $2,000, I think, just for the clutch. So they're definitely pricey, but they're all billet aluminum. And supposedly they're super easy to adjust, and a lot of people are going to them for racing. So that clutch plate, or that clutch cover I just showed you, is kind of an adaptation for your stock plastic clutch cover, because that tap is a little bit bigger, so it will rub on the clutch cover. And one thing I have noticed online is some people have said that when they put a clutch plate on their primary, so kind of like the one I have from RPM Power Sports, I know Evo has their own, ZRP, there's tons of companies out there making them. Whether you hate them, love them, whatever, I mean, that's your opinion. But I've got the RPM one, and I've noticed it's been rubbing on the clutch plate, or the clutch cover. So I went ahead and picked that up from Evolution Power Sports. I'll link it down in the description below. They said it will work to kind of space it out. I'll show you guys kind of that process. It's literally like a $30 piece of plastic. So we'll show that installation and what it takes to do that. And then I've also got the Mode Tool oil change kit. So I did a full in-depth video on that oil change kit. I'll link it down in the description below, so you can go check out all of that. But I've been running it for about a year, and I've loved it so far. I mean, it's oil. It's not like you can really tell night and day difference, but I think it's performed pretty good. I'm curious today to see what it looks like when I drain the old oil. It's like you can see in this old video, it's actually got a red color to it. So it'll be interesting to see how much it's broken down and kind of changed colors over the last year or so since I've been running it. So we're gonna go through, do that oil change kit, put that clutch cover on there. I also gotta wash it up. So really, it's just gonna be a kind of chilled garage maintenance day. So stick around, we're gonna be going over some of the pros and cons, and just having a relaxing maintenance day. Hopefully relaxing anyway. Sometimes you think they're gonna go easy and shit goes wrong, so fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I think it's probably weird to say this, but I think honestly one of my biggest pros of the Pro XP is how easy it is to clean. So all of this literally comes out in seconds. You can get the whole firewall out of it, and then the whole bed comes out super easy. Literally just 4 little bolts here. So if you are new to the Pro XP, all of this comes out super quickly, and it just makes access for cleaning, maintenance, any of that stuff super easy. I know I say super easy a lot, not sure why. I guess that's just my thing, but it does make it really nice for all this stuff. And you'll see once we get to the oil change just how much easier it does make it. The oil filter is still in a shitty spot, but we make it work. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing sudsed up, get it starting to dry. We'll pull it in the garage, and I'll kind of show you guys a little bit about that oil change kit. And then while that oil is draining, we'll go ahead and throw that Evo clutch plate, clutch cover on there, and just kind of show you the install process of that, and kind of just go over some more pros and cons throughout the duration of the video. I will show you kind of what I'm talking about, how the primary clutch is rubbing on the clutch cover right now. When I start it up to move it, you'll be able to hear it, but as soon as you tap on the gas, that clutch actually sucks in closer to the sheaves, so it does pull away from that cover. But when you're sitting there idling, it will kind of rub. So that's kind of what we're going to be eliminating today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead, keep getting this thing cleaned up, and we will get to the oil change. All right, now that we're all clean, I wanna show you guys that clutch plate, how it is rubbing on the cover. So hopefully you can hear it. It's a little windy out here today, but so you can hear it. There's a little bit of a noise when it's just idling, but then when I actually take my thumb and kind of push on it, you can really hear it rubbing in there. So that's why we've got this plate here. We'll drill a hole in that cover, and then this just bolts right back up there. So I'll show you guys obviously how that all works. It's not too complicated. 3 1/4 inch hole saw bit is all it takes. So we'll pop that hole in there, and should be ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna pull the machine in, we're gonna get the oil draining out of it, and then time to drill some holes. Well, we have some good news and we've got some bad news. We'll go ahead and start with the bad news. I don't think the Evolution Power Sports clutch plate is going to work. After looking at it a little bit more, they do say, and I emailed them, and they did say that it would work for other clutch plates. But one thing I was kind of worried about is they say it's for the tap clutch. And looking at the tap clutch, it's very flat on the outside. And then where the bolt is, it kind of sticks out a little bit. So I think that's why they need this little piece that goes in there. So that bolt has some kind of clearance, I guess. But looking at the RPM one, I think this isn't going to be big enough with how the design of the RPM one is. I took a couple measurements, and this is about 3 inches. Sorry if you can't see that. See if you can get, that's a little bit better light. The inside of this dome is about 3 inches. So then I went over to my clutch, and the raised part kind of starts here and it goes to over here. And that is about 2 3/4 inches. And then this sticks out farther, which would be inside of the dome. So I think this would clear, but I think this isn't going to, because the issue with that is you drill your hole inside your cover there, but then you also have the thickness of this, that little lip there. So it's gonna be, the inside of your cover is then gonna be this much distance closer to your clutch, and I do not think that's gonna fit. And I don't want to risk it, because I would drill a hole in this, and then if it doesn't clear, then I'm gonna have to get a whole new cover. So that's the bad news. I'm gonna have to ship that back. But the good news, after looking, there's like no visual wear marks on this cover. It doesn't look like it's really wearing into it at all. And then on the clutch plate itself, hopefully you guys can see this, there's just a little bit of wear on the plate right here, on each one of these little fins. And it's not like, it's not taking material out, it's just taking off some of that anodizing. So you're hearing it rub on that clutch plate, or the clutch cover, I guess I should say, but it's not wearing into it. So I'm not really that worried. I hate the sound, but obviously it's not a huge deal. It's not really affecting anything. So I think I'm just gonna keep running it as it is for now. Maybe it'll kind of self-clearance itself, but that's kind of the good / bad news. Some of the other good news though, the clutches are looking really good. So I've got about 1,000 miles on this machine, and this is the only thing I've done to the clutches. I still have the original belt. I don't have any clutch work done, no clutch weights, nothing, literally just this. And then I just blow the clutches out every now and then. I haven't blown these ones out yet, but I'm going to do that here shortly. And I kind of inspected the whole belt, and there's really no wear marks on it. It looks like a fairly new belt still, so that's awesome to see. I do have, you can see my Razorback temp gauge. That's where it kind of connects to. But that's awesome that the clutches are still in really good shape. The belt's in really good shape. So I'm gonna keep running it with that belt. I was pretty impressed with that. So I know a lot of people blow belts all the time. And I think a lot of that does come down to your riding style, kind of taking off slowly and easing into the throttle more, versus some people just hammer down like they freaking stole the machine or something. So I think some of that is to take into consideration, I guess, when you see these people blowing belts all the time. But some other really good news, if you guys have been following along, you know that I used to have the particle separator that was in the fender well over there, and I did not have good luck with it at all. Kind of went back and forth with S&B several times, and we just couldn't get it to work. We did everything, and I think they actually have a new system out now. It's kind of like a warranty replacement system. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too much, but we kind of tested a whole bunch of things out with that old style, and I just couldn't get it to work. And eventually I ended up just going with this mounted option, the one that kind of sits up here, and then it connects and then goes to the air box. But I have had insanely good luck with this particle separator, the roof mounted one. See if I can show you, get some light in here. This has not been cleaned in over 400 miles. You can see a little bit down here where some dust is getting in, and this is, I think, old, so it's grease is why that's even sticking to it. I think this is pretty old, so I'm gonna clean the clutch or the air box out just a little bit, but I'm gonna leave that filter in there. I mean, it looks brand new still. That roll bar mounted particle separator is working amazingly. So I am very impressed with that. They definitely know what they're doing, at least with that version. I hope some people are having better luck with the other ones, but I just wasn't, and I kind of like the look of this one a little bit better. And it's proven that it's a lot more, I guess, people, it's like the old style. So it's been around for a long time. The only benefit with the other one is it's kind of hidden. But what I do like is this whole front face is the intake now. So you're getting clean air shoved straight into that. Whereas with the old style, or the other style, the intakes were like back here, and I was constantly getting grass and stuff like thrown up, and it would go into that intake, and I was literally getting grass on my air filter. So I did not like that at all. But I have not had any issues with this one. So if you are looking at an S&B particle separator and you're okay with having it kind of exposed like this, 100% get it, no regrets at all. So that's kind of a big plus, I guess you could say. And one other thing, kind of the last thing that I've noticed so far today, actually there's two more things. The first one is the Motul oil kit. I obviously have it in there right now. That's the oil I changed and put in the machine. My last oil change, before that, I was actually running the Polaris heavy duty oil, or the extreme duty, I think is what it was called. But then I made the switch over to Motul last year. And like I said earlier in this video, the oil is actually red. And I was like, okay, that could be kind of cool. And like, you can see how it changes throughout the like engine cycle, however many miles you put on it. Does it deteriorate the oil? What does it kind of look like after you run it? Well, I'll throw up a video here real quick of what it looks like after, I think this was 400, 500 miles and just over 50 hours. So, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding on this one. I mean, you can still clearly see that it's red. It does not look broken down near as much as the other oils I've been using. So I think that's kind of a big pro to running a higher grade oil like that. Now they do have two different versions, kind of more of a race application and then a dune application, or dune and trail, which is what I'm using. But I am seriously impressed. Like, it is more expensive. I think it's $80 for an oil change kit. I think the Polaris one is maybe $60, and Evolution Power Sports does do sales on it. I think I just got it for like $65, $70 not too long ago. So you just got to be on the lookout for some deals like that. Maybe Black Friday, stock up on some oil change kits. But I am super impressed with how well that oil held up. So definitely, I was kind of skeptical on my last install video because they're like, oh, it claims 3 horsepower, blah, 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 blah. Now, seeing what that oil looks like, I definitely trust what they say a lot more. and I'm just happier to run it. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but these motors go through hell, and like some of the conditions that we're putting these things through, it's just good to know that you're giving it the best quality oil you can. And I definitely think that Motul oil is going to be the best. So if you want to get one of those kits, I'll link it down in the description below. But little scooter. I'll link it down in the description below. I don't have any discounts, sadly, with Evolution Power Sports, but you can still pick it up and run it and let me know what you think. So we're gonna go ahead, get the new oil put back in there, and then I have one more thing I really wanna show you guys, and it kinda is worrying me just a little bit. I saw it on the underneath side of the RZR, and it doesn't look too good. So I'm gonna go ahead, get that oil in there, and then I'm gonna show you guys something that I just found. Fingers crossed it's nothing serious, but we'll show you in just a second. If you guys haven't seen my video of the full oil install or my last oil change, I'll show you real quick how this all comes packaged. It's super clean, very nice packaging, but obviously you've got your 3 quarts of oil. You've got your Pro filter. I don't know if there's anything too special about this filter. Seemed to work pretty good last time, so I'm sure it's pretty decent filter there. And then in here, you've got a nice little shop rag. I think it says Motul on it, so that's kind of cool. And then you've got some gloves. I don't really use these, but some people might want to. Honestly, it's probably not a bad idea. They're just some rubber gloves to kind of keep your hands clean. And then this is where your +3 horsepower comes in. 2 freaking stickers, baby, and a new little crush washer, or little washer in there for your drain plug. So that's pretty nice that they send that. That's pretty much what comes in that oil change kit. Very nice quality. I would definitely recommend it for your RZR or Can-Am. I don't know if they have it for Kawasaki yet, but I would highly suggest it for either your side-by-sides. Pro R, Turbo R, I know they just came out with kits for those too, so go check them out. Another cool thing about these Motul oil or quarts, they have like a filler neck on them, so this actually pulls out. Basically, you pull this out, you unscrew your cap. There's another little cap in there. You gotta pull that little guy off. Then you have a nice little filler neck for your oil. So obviously you can still use a funnel. I'll still go grab one, but this definitely kind of comes into handy. Kind of a cool little addition they did on their quarts. Makes them just a little bit different. So after I was done blowing out the clutches, I actually realized the reason the clutch cover was rubbing on the clutch housing was because I had the bolts way too tight. I was using my Milwaukee impact ratchet, whatever you want to call it, and I way over tightened the bolts, and I think it just compressed the cover too much to where it was rubbing on the primary. But now that I just put those bolts back in hand tight, there's no rubbing at all. So if you have that issue, definitely just loosen up those bolts and see if that fixes your issue. Alrighty, she is back together. Oil is in. Even put a new fresh coat of my advanced coatings on there. If you guys do want to get some of that stuff, go ahead, hit the link down in the description below. I will say, so far the mudguard actually did work. I put it on the fender wells before we went in the road. Or I think it was, we went down to Mid-America, and I put a coat of that mudguard on there before, and honestly, it sprayed right off. Like, I had the pressure washer, one pass, and it looked clean. I didn't even have to put soap on it and clean it. I still did because we're going to the dunes, and I like to have my machine as clean as it can be. Obviously, the more you clean these things, I swear, the more mud starts coming out of random fucking corners. So that sucks, but that's part of owning a side-by-side. So I did want to show you guys that one little thing I was talking about. See if you'll be able to actually notice it. So on the bottom here, right back here, it arcs really bad. I don't know if there's a cross member there. If you look at those bolts right there, just to the right, it really starts bowing. If you look at it from the front, You can kind of see how it drops way down back underneath the transmission, but then it bows way up in the middle. So what I'm thinking, I'm hoping, I don't know 100% where the cross member is that goes, it's got the bearing carrier in it for your drive shaft. I hope it's not there, and I hope that's not bent, and maybe I just haven't noticed that before, but I did see that and I'm like, oh man, I've never noticed that kind of curve in there before. But that's pretty much all we're gonna do today. The only other thing we have to do to get ready for the dunes is paddle tires, and I'm gonna wait to do that until we get ready to leave. So that's gonna be it for kind of this portion of the video. I'll see you guys here. For me, it'll be in a few days, but for you, it's gonna be in a second, and we're gonna be putting the paddles on and heading to Oklahoma.